One thing, yes, my barnet is looking awful, I know. Two, there's a fly in here. If you hear it, I'm really sorry. I don't know where it is, it's just making a racket. And three, yes, that is a box of Kinder Buenos. Anyway, in June of 2018, I bought myself one of these, the iPhone 10. Just 6 months later, I sold it. But after having a play with one recently, and after having used the iPhone 11 full-time for 9 months as well, I feel like my thoughts have had a bit of time to mature. So it's around or just below the same price as the recently released iPhone SE. Is the iPhone 10 a really good deal on the used market, or is it something you should totally avoid at all costs? Well, today I'm going to tell you. By far, without a shadow of a doubt, my favourite thing about the iPhone 10 was the form factor. It fits my hands perfectly. It's something that I miss about mine because while the 11 is great, it is a bit chonky. The polished rails and glass back, while not the most durable or rugged materials by any means, they do pick up an awful lot of micro scratches, do feel more premium in my opinion than, excuse me, I just whacked my watch on the chair, do feel more premium in my opinion than the rougher textures on the 11. I feel like this could actually potentially turn into an iPhone 10 versus 11 debate if I'm not careful. The iPhone 10 did screen quality back then, and if you compare it to the iPhone SE even today, I feel like the iPhone 10 seems to be the better built and the better looking phone overall as well, even 3 years later. It's roughly the same size, if not a little bit bigger than the SE, and has far more usable screen space. And some are going to be turned off by the notch, and I get that, but it does house a good set of Face ID sensors, and whilst it's not as quick as what you'll find in the more recent iPhones, it's had software updates, it's got more accurate, and it's not going to be as cumbersome as when it first came out, which even then it wasn't so bad. I'm personally a fingerprint scanner kind of guy, but I actually prefer Face ID to in-display fingerprint scanners, so there we go. There's the fly again. I think he's over there. But in terms of the hardware, you get all the creature comforts of a modern iPhone like the most recent 11 Pro Max. So you get wireless charging, you get no headphone port, and you get those really rather good stereo speakers. I'm not sure if it's an Apple thing, but the stereo speakers in these phones, whilst not like crazy front firing things, they do sound good, and I tend to just sit in bed and watch Nexpo all night. So I listen to a lot of YouTube videos, and I find them to be really good coming through on the iPhone 10, the iPhone 11. It's maybe just a little thing that Apple does right, similar to the haptics, that you might not notice on a spec sheet, but that actually does make the world of difference in terms of the user experience. The OLED screen on the 10 was and is still fantastic. Sure, it's not a 60Hz panel, it's not got Quad HD resolution, but it looks sharp, it looks smooth, and it wouldn't stand out as a poor display, even in the realm of iPhones 2 years later. Note how I said iPhones there, because we've yet to see an Apple phone with a high refresh rate display. The cameras on the 10 have the same skin tone issues that are present in the brand new iPhone 11, which is a real shame. You'll notice that they make me look like a president of the United States when left to its own devices, and honestly, I don't know why Apple hasn't fixed this yet. There's also no ultra-wide camera, something that I personally want in a personal phone for me, so that means that I could not use the iPhone 10 in my daily life because I just really like having that ultra-wide. And the 2x telephoto most of the time isn't even used when you zoom in. Actually, when you pinch in, unless the lighting is perfect, the phone will just simply crop on the standard sensor anyway. The image quality is okay, it's not bad at all, but the image quality jump from the 10 to the 11 is massively noticeable. Unfortunately, I haven't got one right here to take comparison shots, but maybe go and shout Tech Focus, Alex at Tech Focus, because I believe he's got both on hand right now. That said, for around £400, the 10 does still take some good photos, and that's even more of a case for the selfie camera. Portrait mode might not be ideal since the edge detection in particular isn't great. And if you're buying the iPhone 10, you're not buying it for its camera, but it's not awful. It just doesn't feel outdated at all. Apart from the ultra-wide. Need an ultra-wide. There's no doubt that the performance is great and probably still will be for a couple of years to come on the iPhone 10. The A11 Bionic and 3GB of RAM seem to be more than enough from everything from tweeting to gaming. You guys know that Apple makes some overkill chips sometimes, and this is one of the main reasons that I'm happy to pay more for a smartphone when it first comes out, because these things tend to stay faster for longer. Of course, that's likely thanks to the software. The 10 launched with iOS 11 and now it's on 13.5. Thankfully that time with iOS 12 passed, because that was an absolute train wreck of an operating system, and I hope Apple never goes back there again. again, but it probably will because most software companies, well, they tend to fail. Battery life is average when one of these is new. So if you're buying a used device, do be aware that there could be a significant drop in battery life with older batteries, and replacing the battery isn't all that simple, nor is it that cheap. Charging is also slow with the included 5-watt brick, so definitely get the 18-watt brick if you can. As I said right at the start of this video, for around the same price as the iPhone SE, is the iPhone X really worth buying? In my opinion, yes, but it's also intended for a different audience. The iPhone SE is going to probably go on for longer with more software updates. It's probably going to stay faster for longer. It's probably going to stay fresher for longer. It's probably going to drop in price just like the iPhone X did, and in a couple of years you'd probably be able to pick one up for 200 quid, maybe even less than that. So I think they are completely different kinds of phones. If it was me going out with £400 right now and I had to pick between the two, I would 100% take the iPhone X every day of the week. The OLED screen, the more minimal bezels, the form factor, the camera. Actually, the iPhone SE probably does have a better camera. It's all there, and I would take the iPhone X, but I also do recommend the iPhone SE, so yeah, if it's a toss-up between the two, I'm taking the X. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video. I wanted to look back at the iPhone X, and whilst I played with it a little bit, I didn't get any B-roll, so I just thought I'd use old B-roll. Sorry if you're offended by that, but I thought that old B-roll was pretty good compared to what I'm doing these days anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a trip down memory lane. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to The Fly for being a fantastic audience. I've been Ryan Thomas. Please do like, dislike, comment, subscribe if you're new around to this video like this one. Also check out all my social media links in the video description. Also check out our podcast at The Subject Podcast, because we will be doing more of those. I believe we just put out episode 4. It's a weekly podcast that goes out on Wednesday, hosted by me, Alex Langley, and Damien Wilde. Yeah, I want to give a massive shout out to my patrons before we go, because you guys are awesome, so thanks for continually supporting me. You guys are epic, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.